And bam! Here we go. Hello, YouTube family, weirdos, thoughts, boppers out there. It's your boy Tank, back with a video. Though I haven't been around in a while. Been out there doing things, coaching basketball, instructing, RSO of the world. That's your boy. But I want to come to y'all tonight with a little bit of different topic, right? So earlier, my brother, Tactical Skillionaire Defense, my Bug Nation brother, posted a video, right, which is basically a challenge by another creator, another brother in our community, Well Dressed Tactical, and he posed a question, and I wanted to pose the question to y'all and get a greater conversation going. The question was, if something happens, if for some reason you're forced to choose one gun out of your collection and go with it, what gun and why are you choosing? And that got me to thinking. I was like, there's a conversation around this. Now, as an instructor, I tend to want to deal with people who've never shot before, right? Take them through that process. We're going to load one round. We're going to get over that fear. Why not? That's my specialty as an instructor. And that type of person just getting into it, they're not necessarily the same energy as most of us have that are watching this video. I think a lot of us started that way, and then we sort of caught the bug. But generally, there's a lot of people, and that's part of our 2A world, that only have one weapon. They'll take it and they might train with it when they buy it. Then they're going to put it in the closet, something, put it in the safe, and only use it if shit hit the fan, right? There's others that have multiple weapons, right? So I want to come at this from a different perspective, right? I took the challenge as, you know, shit hits the fan, apocalypse, zombies, and whatnot, and you got to get out, get your family out, things like that. What one gun and why are you picking that, right? I know a lot of us carry EDC or whatnot, and that's typically about a trade-off type conversation between your body size and what you can carry comfortably, right? And round count, right? And a lot of times when people who are new to the firearms game or new to this 2A community, they're looking more on the concealability side if they decide to carry. So let me get something small, something that fits in my hand or whatnot. And those are important aspects, but it's not the end all be all of everything, right? So I wanted to come and talk about that, right? So for somebody who's just worried about how does it fit in my hand, can I put this in my purse, can I put this in my bag or what, like, right? You know, that brought about, and you know, this is an old style gun. This is the Derringer style gun. As you can see, all my weapons here are big cleared. We're safe. You know, none of them are loaded, even my rifles. You know, so all that's been checked. So let's get that out of the way. But you can see here, this is a little Derringer 2-shot. This one I believe is in 32 ACP. There's other barrels, 380. You know, a couple other 32 ACP, things like that. But it's 2 shots, and basically you pull trigger once, one shot out of one barrel, cock it back again, pull it, and that's all you have. So that then talks about capacity, right? 2 shots of 380. That might be we call this a get off me gun, right? But then you're trying to flee or something like that. So shit hits the fan, the zombies, this probably ain't gonna do the trick, right? So this wouldn't be to answer this question, like, you know, one particular gun in your collection, you know, what are you gonna take? Probably not this one, right? This has more of a novel appeal for me or whatnot, right? I might carry this if I'm on duty doing private security as a backup, like, and then in the palm of my bat type thing or something. But this is not going to be my main duty weapon or my main defense weapon. Right? So then we'll get into something maybe a little bit bigger, right? So I'm going to bring out my Taurus TX22 once again, clear so everybody can see, right? Now, obviously, this is a little bit bigger. I believe it has a 3.3-inch barrel. The capacity on this, there's different mags. I think the standard capacity is somewhere around 13, 14, maybe 15 or whatnot. But you're dealing with 22 LR, which we talk about calibers and impact, things like that. Really in that conversation, what we always leave out is placement, right? So if you're training with this and this is all you have, train with it till you get proficient, right? And be able to, put your shots within, that diameter or something from, 10 and then try it from 15 or something like that, right? But you're a little bit outmatched at this, right? Especially in a place like here in Texas. Most of the conflict you're going to get into, the other person, the assailant, the bad actor, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be armed as well. You're going into battle with a 22. It could work, but good luck. That's not going to be my choice, right? So then we move up to something like this. This is in my carry rotation. This is my Thesis PX9 carry, right? Now there's different versions of this. There's a tactical version, there's a duty version, all that good stuff. This particular one caught my fancy. One, because as I say, I carry this, and I typically carry in my waistband, right, in my appendix or whatnot. And so for me particularly, I like something with a safety, just because it's pointing at a vital area of my body, right? Also, the capacity on this is unmatched. This is standard 15, and it comes with slightly extended magazines to take it up to 17. So it's on par with your P365 X macro, things like that. You can see I have a dot on it. Phenomenal trigger, and it's a 3.5-inch barrel. So this is about Glock 26 size. With a greater capacity, right? So that's interesting to me. This would be a very good option, a very good choice. I've even considered potentially carrying this as a duty gun when I'm doing private security as well, right? So it can flex into many different things. But is it the best option for me? Not necessarily. It may be for you. This may be the one gun that answers everything, right? Something this size, depending on how it fits your hand or something like that, right? But even with this, there's an optional mag well on here. It helps it with reload, so but that can be taken off, right? It comes in the box, but you have to put it on, right? So without that, it changes the grip a little bit, right? So without that, my finger would probably be slipping off, as you can see, right? So there's trade-offs is what I'm trying to get you to understand. And for me, with the size of my hands, I play basketball, coach basketball, so I have maybe mid to big size hands. It's workable. Is it the greatest comfortable thing? Probably not, right? So that takes that out, right? Now, the capacity on that is great, right? My current carry, which I had this in my pocket a few hours ago when I was out, is my Taurus GX4 carry. As you notice, there's carry in both of them, so these are carry specific models. Also with the red dot. The capacity on this one is 15, so I lose 2 rounds, but I always carry a backup mag. Here you see I have the TRL 7X, right? So it gives me that light. So if I'm out at night or something, I can carry that. But this is actually not the standard configuration of this gun. When you buy this gun, it isn't exactly like this. I like customizing my guns or whatnot, and those of us who got the bug or whatnot or in this community, we do that a lot. We seek guns as a platform. So somebody will say like, what's the best gun for me to go buy? Right. That's a flawed question, but also the way in which I see it for myself personally, and not speaking as an instructor, but just personally, I'm looking at, okay, I can spend X amount on this, but then I want to do this with it. I want to do that with it. When there are those possibilities there. So for this is not too off from my other carry, right? Roughly the same size, as you can tell. But this is actually the Mischief Machine frame for this gun. This is an optional add-on that you can get from Mischief Machine that's made for this model of gun. Now, the downside to that is the expense. This gun from Taurus is a budget brand that I'm pretty fond of. This gun I might have got for somewhere between $350, right? This particular frame itself was more than that, right? So it doubled the price of the gun. Basically, the frame was about $400, right? Now, what this is this is not polymer. This gun here, even in this size though, is all metal, right? So I have an aluminum frame and then obviously the steel or whatnot, right? So it's a little bit heftier than this, right? But as I'm carrying it in my waistband, it's negligible, right? I don't really feel it, right? But the shooting on this, when I take this to the range, it mitigates the recoil a lot better. I've had other people shoot this and they're like, oh man, we like that gun. I'm like, yeah, but it's also, I put $1,000 into, a Taurus. Most people aren't going to want to do that, right? That's sort of a gun nerd thing. So it's hard to recommend this. This is what I carry most of the time, if not my thesis and whatnot. And I have a few more in rotation as well. But this is sort of my main carry thing. But 15 rounds, right? So I'm somewhat limited, right? I'm a capacity whore in that sense, right? Now, a lot of people know when I train, when I do classes, right, I carry outside the waistband. I don't carry in the waistband or whatnot. And I bring a more competition-focused gun, right? As folks know, as my homeboy, regular gun guy says, I'm a Glocker, right? So this is my Glock 45 with the Radiant Ramjet. And you can also see I have a weapon mounted light on here. Also another streamlight, the TLR1, and also have the Magwell or whatnot. And the dot on here is a Holosun, but it's an older model, but it differs from the mainline Holosuns that are out now, where this is a little bit more competition focused. It has a small singular dot instead of multi-reticle dots. So those multi-reticle dots are something that have come onto the market for the casual carrier or whatnot, sort of focused. But in competition, you don't want that variance of a bigger dot. So this has a much smaller dot, and I'm able to hone in on the target and put my rounds on target better than the other red dots that I showed before, which are multi-reticle. And in a competition, this amount can, be the difference between first and fifth, or fifth and 10th, or out of rank, or something like that. So for competition type shooting, which I don't do a lot of, but I'm in that world nonetheless, that's what this is set up for. So it's tempting to say I would carry this, but because of all the accessories I added, this is actually heavier than my all metal gun, right? So am I going to carry this all day? Plus, I tried carrying this in my waistband once, and I'm a big dude. I'm 285 pounds, 5'11". I'm not small by any chance, right? But this is uncomfortable to carry in my waistband. So if I'm carrying this, right, if I'm like The Last of Us and I'm going out trekking, trying to get away from zombies or whatnot, now I'm carrying this outside and I'm carrying it on my hip all day. That's probably not that comfortable after 4 or 5 hours, right? I'm not a police officer. I'm I'm not used to long shifts with a piece of heavy metal or hard plastic on my hip for 9-10 hours while I'm trying to move around and be docile and stuff like that. So that's probably out, right? So it gets to the question of what exactly, what would my answer be to this query? And for me, even as an instructor, one of the arguments that I have with other instructors is that for somebody who's brand new, who's never shot before, I actually don't prefer handguns. If I have my way, and I usually teach in a class setting where there's other instructors or whatnot, so we work out the curriculum. But if I just had it my way and I was dealing with somebody who's never shot before, America, right? The classic AR-15. Now, there's a reason why this pattern rifle, this platform is so ubiquitous. This was actually developed by the military, as most people know. But a lot of people don't know that it was developed for, this was in a time of constriction where they were just bringing in people off the street who weren't necessarily soldierly minded or militarily minded. So they wanted a tool that they could just hand to Gomer Pyle, right? And they'd be able to figure it out, right? The previous battle weapon before this was a clunky type thing. You had to know how to work it, and they found through study that that platform itself, just to being able to manipulate it and things like that, were causing undue harm to troops and loss of life and things. So they wanted something simple that they could just hand to anybody off the street and they could figure out how to work it. It's a very simple operation. Once again, these are clear, as you can tell. The mag well, bolt is hole open. But what I like about this for a new shooter is you have way more points of contact, right? So when I'm firing a handgun, right, all that recoil is coming back into my arm. So something smaller, like this Taurus 22, as I mentioned, everything is a trade-off. You don't have that much of a recoil from a 22, but there's still some. But what amplifies it in this platform is the size of this gun. So I'm probably going to get equal, if not a little bit more recoil than one of my 9mm. So like this one, which is my all-metal carry gun, is actually softer shooting than this gun, even though it's quite bigger and it's heavier, right? That weight actually helps mitigate some of the recoil that I feel back. So continue on with that logic, that physics, the more points of contact that one has, the less they're going to feel it, right? So this happens to be a 9mm AR-9 PCC, pistol caliber carbine. What that means is that this fires the exact same round as this, and as this, and as this, right? A lot of people don't understand this, but what that means is that this is actually a little bit softer shooting than those are, right? Because with these points of contact, once that force comes back, it mitigates out into my body. I really don't feel it that much, right? This is the very soft shooting thing. I've taken this out to a few classes when we're starting up and let people shoot it, and they were amazed. And I'm like, it's the exact same round. I can take it out of, here, shoot my handgun. Okay, you see how that feels. Not too bad, right? Okay. Now, take that exact same round, let's put it in here, let's shoot this. And they're like, whoa, hold on, right? They've heard that this platform, AR platform is a killer, and all the stuff that's out there about it. It's a tool, just like any other tool, right? That said, it's a 9mm, which has limitations, right? The 9mm cartridge is more designed for handgun platform, handgun applications. There are some benefits to have it in a PCC, in a AR, or in a rifle type setup, but there's also some negatives to that. For instance, you know, I get pretty much the same performance out of the handgun version versus the rifle, because it's the same round, right? So it's just as capable. Not, I know that's not technically right, but basically it's the same round, just different platforms. So the trade-off that I get from having it in a PCC configuration, I'm not sure that that's good enough for me personally to make that choice and say, oh yeah, that's the winner, right? So actually, how I answer this and what I would carry as somebody comes through that door and I have to leave right now, I have to grab my son out of the bed and we have to flee or something like that. The good old standy dandy regular AR-15. Now, just looking at it, this here's the PCC that I showed before, and this is the 5.56 223 AR that we all know and love or hate, right? Looking at it, you can't really tell the difference. You have to start looking at the mag well, things like that, right? And weight-wise, not too much of a difference, right? But this is much more capable just because of the round, right? 5.56 223 is ubiquitous. That's why it is sort of the default round for the AR platform, right? And that's the round that the platform was actually created for and around, right? So it's like butter on toast that goes together type thing, right? And I have greater range than I do with the 9mm, right? And as I said, the weight really isn't that much difference. So for my choice, it would be 5.56 223 AR, right? God forbid I need to give this to somebody who's with me. It's a very simple operation. An idiot can learn how to use it, right? Which is why the military developed it as so. And the pros outweigh the cons for me. So if I can only have one gun, it's going to be a 5.56 223 AR, and that's my rationale. Now, that said, I took this as a challenge from Tactical Skillionaire, my bug brother Nation, and he got it from this brother here. Well Dressed Tactical is also another member of our community. I believe he's the progenitor of it. He started it, but he sort of issued a challenge, and that's where Skilly, as we call him, got it from, right? So I'm carrying that forward, right? But I'm gonna do it a little bit different. I'm gonna challenge the sisters in our community. So I'm putting this challenge out there to Gina versus Gina, and our newest instructor in the community. She's out in Maryland. You got to check out Burner Girl. Challenging you, make a video, tell us what you would choose and why, and we'll check it out. Also, there's another sister. I'm in her Discord community. I believe she's in Louisiana. Her name is Amalise. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Might be Alice, whatnot. But same thing. So Gina v. Gina, Burner Girl, and Amalise. Need to see y'all's video. What y'all choosing and why. And hey, y'all have a good night and stay safe. It's your boy Tank. Peace.